Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the IEM Katowice CIS Minor B stream. The B stands for Bonanza, because that's what's just happened here in our opening matchup. Simon Gaming over top of Gambit. Can you believe it? You better, because it's true. No fake news here on the B stream. But we are now gearing up, folks, for AVANGAR versus Prosto. That's a pretty interesting game.
Vodafone presents the pre-match.
The pre-match. That wasn't the pre-match. This is the pre-match now. It's official. Thank you, Vodafone, for giving us this opportunity to mull over, like I said, the second best of one here on this stream. After this, we'll have the winner's best of three, which will feature Simon. I mean, again, that's got to be a surprise, Launders. You were shocked. I saw it in your eyes.
I was shocked. Yeah, I was disappointed and shocked at the same time.
It's a mix of emotions.
It was a whole cacophony of emotions. But ultimately, you know, I've just got to accept it. Especially if you're Gambit, you're probably more shocked than anything else. But now we have the team that could potentially go up against them,
right?
In either AVANGAR or Prosto. I don't know how you feel about this.
Yeah, so I mean, AVANGAR, highest ranked team at the CIS Minor, the most internationally relevant team as well. I think most certainly because of their run at Epicenter, where they came in 3rd, 4th position. That was a big one from them. It kind of solidified what had been momentum building over a few months. So they're at an all-time high. There was.
But when you say internationally successful,
yeah,
is that applicable when they're playing teams that they they scrim against and stuff?
Right. So that's the big question, right? This is where our man Sudan Wachingbam, otherwise known as Bleh, was wondering whether or not AVANGAR's performance, like you just said, would be the same versus their domestic matchups. And that is always a big question, right? You never know because there's much more practice, there's a much more intimate knowledge of one another. And if you are in this group, I feel like the team you've studied most would be AVANGAR. So maybe they'll have their hands full because Prosto, they're no slouches here, Launders. No chumps.
No chumps, no chumps. Who are we looking out for on Prosto? I haven't had the pleasure of casting a Prosto game ever, I want to say. Ever.
Never, ever.
Never, ever, no.
If I was looking at Prosto myself, I like to keep my eyes on Def, not only because he has a, top-notch haircut, but also Flaria. Or Flaric.
Flaric?
Flaric, Flaria. I'm going to go with Flaric because that's how it's spelt.
Okay.
And we have the benefit of the doubt being English.
Cool. Flaria.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
I said Flaria.
Okay. I said, like, I'm willing to fall on the sword here if it's Flaria, and I could take Flaria and you could take Flaric,
right,
and then we can make everybody unhappy.
So here's the thing: it's spelt pro100, right? But it's pronounced Prosto.
So
So I feel like because we already give them that kind of leeway, I'm not willing to give him any. So if his name is pronounced Flaria, I'll deal with it.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll follow your lead on this one, but Prosto are. They are going to have an interesting veto, I think, with this coming against AVANGAR. The two teams have some overlap in their map pool. I think there was a high likelihood that we know that we would see Train and Train and Nuke potentially banned. But apart from that, it's unsure if it was going to be like Inferno, Dust 2, or even Cash for the pick.
I feel like if we move on to something like Dust 2, then that's what's really going to start activating a guy like Jame. You asked me who I would look at Prosto, and it's nobody in comparison to the guys on AVANGAR. But you know what? Let's take a more intimate look at AVANGAR. We got some footage ready to roll for you guys.
You sure about that one?
The E-League was bad for me exactly because after E-League I just exit the teams. I leave Gambit and then I just joined the AVANGAR. To be honest, like our team are really confident right now. We had really productive training time. No, I cannot say like we are favorites. Every team is strong right now. I just checked the list who's playing against and who is on the minor. So every team is really strong right now. And this minor is gonna be interesting for me exactly because here's a lot of players that I know who is playing a lot also. They're like Gambit team, like Dosya Mo. They are the major champions. And now we're here. I don't know how it's gonna work here, but I hope we will win.
AVANGAR, Launders.
Yeah.
It's a team that's currently being called by our boy Kickert. Predominantly a Kazakh team, of course, but one inclusion of a Russian. That's going to be Jaime, or Lord Farquaad.
And also their best player.
Yeah, ridiculously good.
Yeah.
I mean, cerebral player. Go back to Epicenter. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I can remember the clutch. I can give you the play-by-play.
1 versus 4s out the hoo-ha. I mean,
yeah.
the man is pretty freaking good at Counter-Strike.
Yeah, he's really good. And he's got the best hair.
Yeah.
He's got the flow going on.
It's on fleek.
The locks, yeah. Perfect symmetry. And it's just a lot of bounce you could see with it.
Good buoyancy on that.
Yeah, buoyancy on the hair. I really feel like his hair is going to take this over the line for AVANGAR.
I mean, even if he didn't have it, right? I think the Counter-Strike skill is in and of itself.
You think if he was bald, he could pull off the 1v4s that we saw at Epicenter?
Yeah. Yeah, he's that good.
I think that's a leap of faith, but, you know.
I think it's also interesting to now see Fitch back in this, right? Like, I mean...
Can we talk about that interview for a second?
Go for it.
I would like more of a UFC-type atmosphere with these interviews, where even if they aren't confident, they make it seem like they are very confident.
Right, the McGregor.
As opposed to what seemed like Fitch giving a very unbiased opinion from like an analyst perspective about how he feels about both teams. I didn't feel like he was very confident.
But he said they're all confident.
Yeah, but then he's like, who knows how this goes? These guys won a major.
Maybe that confidence doesn't exist in front of cameras, but it does exist here inside the server.
Okay.
That's where we've wound up, folks. Prosto to the CT side of DE_Dust2.
Okay.
A little French in the morning. That's how I like it. We've got the exit out from Catwalk, and it seems like AVANGAR just want to swarm the bomb site, but Yakindar is having none of it. He's dropped the bomb. Buster and Fitch, all that's left, but they're doing the side step, the swivel, straight back forward towards the A site. Buster will go closer and closer, but does he know where that flank's got off to?
Uh-oh. What does he push towards? Oh, he sees that a bullet comes hurling over his head. He doesn't know where the rotation is. He doesn't know if the player's going to be walking up this ramp. That rotate was super quick. I mean, I guess the double peek is good, but now he has info on both.
Yep. Slight reposition here to woo! Middle of the box.
That was nice.
And then he pops right back out for another headshot. So AVANGAR have taken the first pistol, and now they're ready to roll with it. Momentum could be theirs. A force up from Prosto right out the gate.
I would. I'd be tilted. I'd go ahead and buy quickly.
That was a really fast rotate.
Yeah.
Props to, I believe...
Yeah, he made that was a snap decision, and he could have stayed there, and it still would have been a good spot, which is what makes it so deceptive. But, yeah, it was handled well by Buster. I think the one thing is that AVANGAR should have won that right out the gate, because they got long control and had one player there, and then had both CTs in the most awkward spots ever to deal with an A split. So it should have never been a 1v2 in the first place, in my opinion. Prosto just hit their shots. But... So, like, a part of me, like, is kind of glad that that didn't work out for them, because I feel like AVANGAR tactically had the edge. And that's, I mean, if anybody asks, that smoke landed where it's supposed to be, right? But
yeah, all these tunnels players. Mid-smoked, right? Yeah, guys.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
Just
they
keep
can't
going.
See anything. They think we're going to cab right now.
Don't you worry. Ivan, what are you made of? Molotov misses the mark as well. Chop, chop, boys. Wake up.
That was a headshot.
Yeah, good damage. No frag. Kenzor denied his Deagle wallbang. Buster and Fitch just hanging on to the little thread of life they have left over, but with a bomb plant on the B site, you know Prosto are done for. They're gone, and they know it. So they'll go ahead and save what does remain of their force up.
They can go ahead and get out of here. That's fine. They have stuff worth saving, and there's just no way that they're going to be able to retake B. And all we saw from AVANGAR that round was a simple Xbox smoke that missed, but that was supposed to try to make it difficult for the mid player to see if anybody was going to be running up Cat. And with that smoke, they were just kind of hoping maybe no one pushes Cat this round. And if no one pushes Cat this round, then all the A players have to be on guard, waiting from Car, waiting from Long, waiting from Goose for players to come across Cat. And from there, making B a lot easier to take with the rotate being so long. But instead, the smoke missed, but there was no one to spot it anyway, so it worked out in their favor. And they took the B site by force. MAC-10 bought up from Grizzin. I think they know it's going to be kind of a mixed bag here for Prosto, who are going to retain the weapons they had last round, invest no more, on this one. Def is the only person to buy a smoke, and he's going to throw it right away for the cross. It's kind of necessary, especially if you're going to stack like this, 4 players moving out towards long. And the corner smoke to take control of it, but it's only going to be a feign from AVANGAR. They're not going to execute on top of this. Rotates will come out, but this is much better than forcing your way out on the anti-eco. On Dust 2, the rotates are so short. It's not a big deal if you take a few seconds out of the beginning of the round just to scout things out. And now we're back to B6.
Whoop. Def missing Deagles. Oh, down he goes. Wasn't really given any good angles there. Good job on AVANGAR to just dodge around the little hope he had. Fitch gonna lock down middle. Ykinder blindsided. And Ivan burns as Fitch clears the kill. Fleric, last man alive. He's been spotted out. They know they have this one in the bag. AVANGAR, I'm curious to see how many of these SMGs they do maintain and retain into the next round. Ooh.
Were you expecting Fleric to take that one?
I mean, I thought it maybe had more of a chance. I mean,
yeah.
that Mach 10 drive-by was accurate.
Complete, just clotheslined. Just put to bed. And what did we figure out what's going on with the T's on the players on the minimap?
No.
Okay. Unsolved mysteries.
I'm working it through.
Big green gun here for James to catch the cross. Just goes ahead and lets one ring off, knowing that he won't be able to see or get visual confirmation on a player crossing. And Death, however, has been spotted. 2 players in the corner go down. 3 players going for long control. AVANGAR can do whatever they want now, and they know they have 1 player locked down, but he's got an AUG.
Oh, and he follow-up shot as well. Buster does get him, though. Maybe assumed that things were safe. Went for the reload with still bullets in the magazine. And the cost is his life. Then AVANGAR falls silent. Tension blankets the bomb site. Ivan ready for the players to come around the corner, but now at this point he knows Cat could be open, and he's scared.
I want to know what AVANGAR are thinking. Here they have a player moving over towards B. I don't assume they're going to fall out of long, otherwise they would have with the bomb, but instead I think they see an opportunity to try to get Prosto to stack a site. Fortunately for them, or fortunately for them, they're not going to be close enough to B to even see that it's going to be a lot, like some presence over here. And the player moving in is going to get information for them to actually fall back. Good on Krizen for committing fully.
All the way through, but now if he dies to the CT player, that's what throws things in question. However, Ykinder seems confident.
Yeah, there is a point here where Krizen could overstep. If he doesn't think anyone's in CT, thinks, wow, maybe I can just lurk my way over, get a couple of kills, he can go ahead and do that. But he doesn't have to, and it's basically just on his teammates to try to cross. As long as they get across the door safely, they'll be completely fine. And here, he can make sure that he can tell his teammates nobody's jumped off Cat, nobody's long flanked, and nobody is pushing into CT.
Hot damn. I mean, just well played there by AVANGAR.
Yeah.
Cool, calm, and collected. 7 seconds left when that bomb hits the site. James even kind of tapers off once they both get into tunnels just to clear lower, ensure that they have that after point control in its entirety.
That was interesting because they threw the smoke from long to the site, right?
Yep.
So they gave up their 2-player position at long. It's as if they planned to take B all along, but they wanted to make sure, I guess, that Krizen could walk through the site for free with those smokes or something. Otherwise, if it was going to be a 1-1, that they just go ahead and take long. I don't know what happens there if Prosto don't bite on the fake, or if Prosto don't rotate out early. But AVANGAR look like geniuses, so that's good.
I feel like those smokes coupled very nicely with Krizen's commitment to the B push, right? Like, it was all simultaneous. So those smoke grenades, like, if ever both players remaining for Prosto were going to be drawn towards watching long, it would have happened when those smokes popped. And sure enough, Krizen maximizes his potential, pushes all the way down through mid, and like you said, has AVANGAR sitting on the scientific pedestal.
Yeah, so exactly. So then I'm like, all right, they could have had the bomb go with Krizen to B. If their plan was to play it, however, wherever they got information, but if they saw a bigger opportunity at B, they could have had the bomb go and rotate out early. That wasn't the case. Now, Buster's going to see this smoke come out in front of him. but doesn't have the cojones to go out before it pops. I'm not saying that he should have.
Okay.
I'm just saying he didn't.
And it was an observation, not a criticism.
That's right.
It's Flare. Ooh.
I'm sure he has very big cojones.
Big push. 4 players up catwalk. The anchor in mid in the form of Fitch now joins them. 5-man push. If there were any A-site defenders, they'd be doomed.
They'd be so doomed.
But they've given it all up. Wow. Another whiff smoke. 3rd missed grenade I've noted already from AVANGAR.
Is it a whiff smoke?
One was, I thought.
They've got the deep CT. They've got one that landed on elevator. But does that actually help them cross elbow? I don't know.
It looked to me like the one that popped on boxes was meant for elbow itself. Maybe it's intentionally falling onto the box so that they can still see over it. I don't have the answers you're looking for.
That's between them and God. I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't know. I just know that they are tearing through Prosto at the moment. This is what I expected in the Gambit versus Simon game, just because of the gap between those teams. And I anticipated AVANGAR with a strong showing here as well versus a team like Prosto. But this, I mean, this is just a dismantling at the moment.
It was like 86 rank disparity between the two teams.
I have it written down.
Do you have it written down?
I'll do the math. Let me crunch some
numbers. It was 117 versus 31? Oh, 31.
117. So
okay.
It is
80.
Perfectly 80 ranks.
80 ranks.
Mind you, this is something you said at the end of our last game that really got me thinking. And you're like, one tournament showing like this for Simon can really throw them up the ranks.
Yeah.
Because when you don't get these opportunities often, how are you supposed to climb 30, 40 ranks?
Oh!
Looked away, Launders.
You were emphatically explaining a very salient point, but
tell me how it went.
I think James closed his eyes and then pressed mouse 1, and somebody died on the other team.
Poor Yukindar. It's been that consistent B anchor in the back behind the boxes. This time he leaves Kenzor alone. And Kenzor toying with fate here. He's playing with the very entrance of tunnels where there are 4 AVANGAR members. Now, if he can line them all up and mow them all down, then we are good to go. But at this angle, it's going to be a little harder. Still, he manages 2.5, and then Def blasts past the door. Finds 1 kill and locks down James, who sits on 38 HP with a bomb at his feet. He has to come out, and he gets the headshot. He set up Fitch to clutch this out 1v2.
Give it a shot, man. And he's actually got a free B site with a smoke to cross and a Molotov for the window. Plus, he's got time to try to segregate the 2 players and make it a 1v1. However, his fallback is going to be noted. Flourish is going to hear that somebody has left the tunnels and will clear it to make sure, but the cross is being spotted. This would be a hell of a miss if Avon can't do this, and he does.
Okay. Okay.
Called him out.
Yeah.
Set it up, you know? Gotta set myself up. Could have laughed if he missed, but at the same time, we laud him because he hit it. So.
Well done, Ivan.
Well done.
Let's see if Yukinder can survive more than 5 seconds this round. I'm not moving my eyes off of the screen because if James does it again, I want to see.
Yeah. But oh, he doesn't go for it. He's just been shooting through the smoke blindly, but here it seems like he didn't want to do that, worried that someone might go for a high pick.
Would make sense, seeing as he did that literally the round before.
Yeah.
You know, if ever they're going to try to counter you with the high pick, take the high road as Fitch takes the low one. To the bottom of middle through tunnels. Little utility pressure here versus Kenzor, who wants to peek for info, but when James is alive, he tends to be staring down mid lane. So you never want to give him the chance to get that pick, because he's coming.
He's always coming. What is wrong with the setup right now? There's not much mid presence. A is okay. They don't have to play on Cat here. They've got an op, and they have an AUG. They're well fortified across sites, but now, because they lack information, Def is going to make sure that his teammates can't get split mid to B. This is a setup that is ready for a B hit, not an A hit. But at least they have Ivan here to spot the cross. The smokes come out again.
Yeah, this time properly.
That one not falling into elevator, getting confirmation that that is where they wanted it to go.
near collateral, but this consistent pressure with so many bodies. Ivan can't find a single frag. I mean, the smoke grenades counter off like the first 1 or 2 angles you tend to play from that corner. You know, and that's the beauty of the car position normally for the Opera, is that you fire, fall off, fire again. You get 2 or 3 chances as they exit through elbow. But those smoke grenades take away his first 2 opportunities. And when he misses that 3rd shot, he's open and exposed to a trade frag, which AVANGAR just grabbed. So with 1 single kill, these Ts will rob away another round.
That's all they needed to do. They had there was no retake utility for Prosto, and there's a number of ways that they could try to shy the Opera away from car. One of the older places to do it is use the long cross smoke to make it so that they just can't see anything from that angle. But there's also the appeal of trying to bait them into taking 1 angle. So make it so that they do have a shot, but it's the 1 shot you want them to have, and then you can try to either duel them there, or you have a flash prepared specifically for that angle from where you can either cross and plant safely or swing and try to get the kill. Pause is called here. Attack timeout for Prostos. They try to figure out what the hell happened. I think part of it is just that they didn't have enough utility to make that round viable. It's an A retake, so it's not crazy to think that they could go for it, but they just didn't have anything. They were low on kits even, so you can't blame them for saving. Overall, it's been a pretty strong map for AVANGAR, taking advantage of mid control when there was no mid presence to try to stop them. But the simple 3-2-A setup would have been solid for Prosto. Not uncommon to have 2 players in B and expect them to take to do the brunt of the work, but weren't willing to trust them in that situation.
Starting to condition Prosto towards this A site. Understandably so. I've been pretty impressed with AVANGAR's rotates, though. You know, there's been a lot of foot traffic back and forth through that T-spawn.
They have excellent rotates.
Yep.
I think maybe to some, they look a little bit loose, a little bit scrimmy, but they definitely have calculated rotates.
Uh-oh. Ivan, hold on. That's unfortunate. Molotov's burned 2 straight out into the open, but do they anticipate Fleric being here? Maybe.
They were not prepared to deal with that kind of pressure on Cat. Not favorable fights for the CTs, especially when you're pushing on the dime of the Ts. They're throwing a Molotov to get you out into the open, and then you push. It's like, you know, there was no way for them to fall back once they got a kill, so even if they had got one, which they didn't, they would have been stuck out there at risk of dying to some player popping up off of Xbox or more nades coming their way. This leaves Fleric in a very awkward position, but he wants to try to get a kill now.
Only Fitch comes around the corner, so yes, the kill's picked up, but then James catches Kindar here in mid. So Prosto split. They'll try to regroup and reconvene as the B player starts to move over. Fleric back over towards the cross. Another clean headshot versus Crism, but he doesn't know that Kickert's right there. But he hears the footsteps of James coming over. And of course, you need more than 1 smoke to completely cover the gap. Kickert wins his duel and confirms where Kenzor's at. It's a middle setup for Prosto, which enables them to go into this 3v1 after plant very confidently.
Absolutely decimated so far.
I don't recall the boys on AVANGAR using that Molotov setup to burn players out of those positions until this round. And that happens to be the round where you get this 3-player setup out of Prosto. I mean, the really good timing on the counterplay.
Yeah, and there's conditioning involved too, right? They're waiting for them to try to change things up. It's really just Prosto just like 2 steps behind every round, it looks like. And a part of that is lack of information. Again, I would like to see more double tunnels pushes from the CTs. I feel like it's not, like, especially if you have information on the right side, you can push up the tunnel, clear everything slowly on the left, have a flash to come out of nowhere from within the site that can't even be heard, and get a lot of information. If you take tunnels, there's not a team in the world that wants to try to take that back from you. That's like very dangerous waters, right? So upper tunnels is great if you can try to push as a T. Some teams like to do it, but I feel like that needs to be more included in the meta for the CTs, especially when things are not going your way at mid or at A, like we're seeing for Prosto right now. They need to try to fish for other options, because at this rate they're not going to get even 3 CT rounds. I don't even know what their route is to getting more than what they've gotten so far. called out when they push cat. Getting split upon in 2-1-2 setups on A.
Getting out-dueled when they try to go 3 long, straight out the gates. Just hasn't been pieced together just yet. We're 10 rounds deep at this point. We're getting there. I round up, you know?
That's fine. I'm with you. Kinzer's got the only gun for the CTs at the moment, and he is kind of support flat. I mean, it's a good spot for him because, you know, your Kinder can go ahead and take information quickly, but AVANGAR make another apt move to hit the A site.
Ivan made noise. Buster blasts him in the back. Never had a chance in hell. I mean, they shouldn't have, seeing as, again, the 4 of 5 players on pistols. Prosto racking up the money as AVANGAR rack up the rounds.
I think this round is a gamble. Like, either way, I think we've seen AVANGAR go to B on their anti-ecos more than once, so it makes sense that Prosto won a stack there. AVANGAR have had success on both sites. They could pick either site and feel equally confident, so it's more nerve-wracking for Prosto, who have to decide, are they going to go for a gamble? Are they even going to really, like, choose based on a lot of information? Do they even care? You know, could it be a 50-50? I think it could have been. I think AVANGAR could have very easily gone B that round. I don't think they would have been nervous. But this time they decide to go A. They avoid the stack. And at the very least, Prosto retain their gun. AVANGAR up 8-1 now versus a full buy. I don't know if there's going to be an op involved. It looks like not. 2 AUGs. It's fine with me. Strong map for AUGs. You know, long is an unfinished part of Dust 2.
Right. I knew that because he ran out of file space when making the map, right?
I think he just ran out of ideas. He didn't know what to do with the whole... He just made it a straight shot because he didn't know what to do with it. And now it's a position where, you know, it's perfect for opping and AUGing as well as it's welcome.
I think that's why so many people anticipated changes to it when Dust 2 was remade.
Oh, it's a testy one though, isn't it?
Yeah. A finicky beast.
Legacy map for Counter-Strike in all FPS titles, but conversation for another time. Kenzer has picked top mid. Wow, he does it again. I was surprised he goes for that. So dangerous as James has spent a lot of time lurking around there with the Zop.
Right. Always here towards mid. Takes a lot of fire damage as the corpse burns. Spots the head of Ivan. But now he's gone. So, AVANGAR on the back foot. This is not a place we've seen them all too often. How do they get themselves out of this situation? Looks like a B split. Could keep bomb towards mid in case tunnel gets entirely shut down. Allow for James to hunt that entry. Couple of corner smokes to give them a little bit more proximity to the bomb site. Def could peek around this smoke if need be, but Kickert may be very well prepared. Whoa, not at all.
Oh boy, but Def doesn't capitalize. 30 seconds up, he's reloading behind the smoke. The big rotate's gonna come in through tunnel. It's gonna come down to Kinder from the back of the site, and Krisen takes him and his friend out for free.
Def still on 100 HP. Just gonna charge right through the smoke, denies the bomb plant, so now time becomes the issue. There's 15 seconds left, and Ivan's ready to come flying forward from the windowsill. Krisen has to give cover. Excuse me, Buster gets the job done. And Fleric, he was too far away to get into the mix. He went for that long flank launders, was not able to deny the bomb plant at the end of things, and that has AVANGAR with a 9th. But that could have been something special there. You know, once you start getting AVANGAR down to the nitty-gritty, those 15, 10 seconds left over, we haven't seen them in those kinds of places before.
It's true.
And this one looked a little scary.
It looked a little scary, and there was many ways they could have lost. In fact, Kickert got caught off guard by his own bad smoke. Seemed like, oh, maybe he throws it like that because he's like gonna creep, like you're saying, right? He was maybe gonna creep up on that angle, but seemed to be caught completely off guard. Def couldn't finish the frag.
It's like you were saying, where sometimes smokes intentionally push a CT into a certain position. Like if you're that counter-terrorist, where do you go? Exactly where Def was at. Spot the legs.
Yeah.
Kickert, very cerebral player. I thought maybe, you know, a little spam, you know, pull a glaive.
Yeah.
But
it was from his perspective, the smoke might have looked perfect. So. Just had no idea, and it was an opportunity lost for Prosto. Followed by both players in B getting killed by one man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that site is all about holds. It can be favored for the CTs to hold versus the Ts who can only come out through the tunnel, a very small, narrow choke point. but once you let them out of the actual doorway, once they're in the site, you know, that's when all hell breaks loose, and that's when it becomes hard to stop them. So maybe weren't proactive enough about their information. It looks like Buster's trying to retrieve a gun that he wishes he had. Oh, no, okay.
Trying to hide it.
Properly hides it, okay. Good man.
A sneaky man. So they go into the double op setup, don't get it kills or damage for it, and then chuck one away. That's when you know you have too much money.
Right. Sign of opulence.
Because it's not even like a, oh, we'll get that later. That's
we'll get that never.
She gone. Head stack setup on the catwalk with a support over the shoulder.
Oh my god.
Oh, the flash is there, but it blinds the CTs as well. They will still pick up one kill. Fitch regains his vision first and then just lets all hell break loose. Yakindar caught on the cross over Buster, finds him in mid. And that right there is 10-1.
There's a round where they have the correct read on the anti-eco. They stack the correct site, and they even flash at the perfect time with no information, but then they blind their own teammates. And it's not the guy who flashed whose fault it was. It was the guy who peeked a little bit too early.
Right. He was just boiling.
We've all made that mistake. We hear the flash go out, and we try to time it so it's perfect. You should wait to hear it pop, but maybe he was worried that he had heard it already, which can happen. Either way, unfortunate. Prosto lose another.
And AVANGAR buy another. An op was purchased by Kickert this time. That allows for, I think what that does is, in this round particularly, puts Jame quicker towards the bottom of mid while always having the option of an op and spawn at the beginning of the round.
This is what we've been seeing happen. Oh my god. I mean,
of course,
Kenzer should not be peeking that dry, first of all, by himself. And that's not bad from Def. You know, he's pretty careful about this fight, and he has his teammates to support, and he's not getting mollied out of position into an engagement, so it's a good 4-4 trade for him. But Kenzer's just peeking this angle that Jame has been holding round after round, hoping to take out his friend and for Jame to miss. And, you know, I mean, it's a little irresponsible, especially when you're leaving your teammate in B in a situation where mid to B could be smoked and all the rotates could be completely stopped.
Kickert's second attempt at some mid pressure here. Yakindar completely turned away. Completely turned to the three-man push.
Yeah. And funnily enough, even though that was a situation where Kenzer took that risk so much earlier into the round, Prosto never made up for it. They just they never had a player cross to mid, and they maybe didn't feel comfortable doing it. They didn't try to smoke the doors to make it seem like they might have had a player cross to mid. And because AVANGAR had information on those mid double doors the entire time after Jame got that duel, they knew they could hit B. There was no surprises. So, I don't know.
What boggles my mind is you have the number 4 man from Prosto set up inside CT spawn, you know, on top of a boost box, waiting for the wide swing, but they wanted the op to get first vision. You know, you'd think that makes sense to me if you have a second B player, but when Yakindar is completely alone,
yeah,
I personally would not be taking my eyes off of that tunnel. Like,
no, absolutely not. And they exactly. I mean, was he even smoked? We don't even know.
So there was a smoke down from Kickert, but the boost would have still had vision over it. I think the only reason you'd pull your op back is if Kickert is hugging that closer wall to CT spawn, then he can be watching window and the CT player doesn't know it or not.
Yeah.
So he says, check that position, and as he does so, he gets railed from tunnels instead.
Yeah, and maybe his play is to hit someone mid to B and then play outside the site because he doesn't feel safe. But retaking B is not very viable. If it is going to be a full-on B hit, that's going to be trouble for his teammates. He also has a great position in the site already, so it's hard to justify. Hard to justify.
Hard pill to swallow, too, at an 11-1 scoreline.
It's one of those big multivitamins.
Ugh. Not even coated.
Tastes like seaweed.
It's a delicacy some places, Launders, but not here. Fleric playing around his own smoke. Krizen's going to go to the left of it and wins his duel. Is Ivan now going to take up his space because he is found in no man's land, standing out in the open. He retreats on 40 HP. Def dies over his shoulder, and Ivan is given second life. But at what cost? Well, Fleric and Def.
Fleric and Def, yeah. Two of his buddies at the site that is being hit right now. And he's so low, he's just rotated all the way over to the left side of mid. 4 players here from AVANGAR at long. What's even the move at this moment?
This to me is the first time I've seen a CT push B tunnels.
He was worried about the split. Yeah, no, that it's just a thing that not a lot of teams do.
Right.
It's just not a lot of teams do it. But it feels like that it might be something that needs to happen, depending on how T-sided people feel like it is right now. And obviously, this game is just such a small sample. We don't know if this is a good representation of how easy it is for Ts to win rounds. But if it does become more T-sided, then CTs will have to implore more pushes. That was just kind of messy, man. At long. I really don't mean to demean them, but I guess part of it was they got the very important kill on Fleric. 1-to-1. I think Krizen came out and killed him.
Yep.
And then once he got in pit, the op shot was missed, which is maybe an op shot that should have been hit. But falling back from that position with an op after a player has just jumped into pit should have never happened. And then Krizen doesn't even look at him. Just from downtown, peeks the guy at barrels and kills him. It's Def. He dies to the first bullet from an AK that's probably 65% accurate, right, at that distance.
Not if it's an AVANGAR AK.
Right, that's the thing. The confidence is so high right now. It's just like even those shots will hit.
So you didn't believe Fitch. But he was telling the truth. These guys, confident as can be. More ops, and even more ops. It's a triple op setup here for AVANGAR. They'll inevitably throw them all away. But when you have money to spend, you buy as you will.
That's right. And now Kenzer's got a better gun, so I'm happy to see this. If he's going to go ahead and peek mid, peek Xbox, know that somebody's going to be opping on these angles constantly, I'm glad that he is more well-equipped. James, can he get caught off guard? Flash is going to come out. Ooh, Kenzer has an opportunity, but he drops the shot, and the T's have crossed.
And they find another opera in Ivan. Def, good support, doesn't get railed by an AK this time around. Fitch is the first casualty of the 14th. Bomb's been given back to James, who doubles towards spawn with Kickert and Krizen. So they're going to reel themselves back into a long A push. So it seems. 45 seconds up, Fleric into the pit. And still 2 players within the bomb site. A little curiosity here from Def as he sets himself further up cat. He won't have any support if Fleric calls for it. Dude. And he will, because Krizen just wrecked him.
Got to give him props for that, man. He's been consistent at destroying the long player.
Oh, near collateral from Ivan. Pushes it all back down onto James. 20 seconds left over. And he's gone. No chance to pick this up. So Prosto doubling their round count here at the final few hurdles of the first half.
For what it's worth.
Yeah. James gonna just creep and crawl across. And then comes in for the fight.
I think James Giff is the guy who's kind of like, what's going on, man? You know what I mean? It's like it's not that 70s show. I'm sure people could pull that one up.
The mind-blown guy.
Yeah,
okay,
the mind-blown guy. Right. He's got that hair. Yeah. Yeah, we're unfortunately being very animated and you guys can't see it, but if you guys can pull that GIF up, that would be great.
If you're well-versed in memology, you'll know. More ops again.
Oh!
There you have it. Kickert picks it up.
I like how James flicks for basically no reason. like he's spamming through a smoke.
For style points.
For style points, exactly.
And then they're immediately 4 Ts into the B tons. Krizen to the deepest of corners, the darkest
depths of the dungeon.
Thanks, Laundry.
Is that where you go?
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
I would like to see, we won't get to see it, but I would have liked to see the Kenzer-James duel one more time before we go into the second half. And unfortunately, he dies already.
Yeah, I feel like Kenzer's been very, very countered in his mid positioning. But Ivan's over here on B. This is not where he tends to stand.
Oh, great nades.
Successful hold as well.
Look at that.
Still going to keep trying. to smash their head against the wall. They have to. The 15th round's upon us. The final attempt of AVANGAR. And you know what? They will make the most of it. They double back.
Oh my god. Flair just got a warning shot all the way back in spawn. It couldn't have been safer, I felt like.
He runs away. I'm not flanking.
Yeah, I'm not like, what are you talking about? You guys are crazy.
Over back towards long door. So this cuts off the avenue of attack. That's going to allow for Def to keep his eyes on Catwalk. So the options again are B tunnels, mid, or Cat. That's it.
This is funny because this is actually the best place for him, for a kicker to go in this situation. And I don't know. Did he see that? Okay, he sees it now. But they've actually got a 2-2 split on the site. Oh, and that was the very important op shot that would have brought it home. If that op shot didn't go off as soon,
yeah,
kicker would have peeked the window, taken him out, and then another disaster would have ensued, almost certainly.
Gone for broke, folks. So nice little solid hold there from Ivan at the very end of things. The first half concludes, and the break now begins. We'll see you for the second half in just a bit. A 12-3 half ending in the favor of AVANGAR. 2 of those 3 rounds coming at the very end of the first 15 launders. They've done enough to continue this game, but for how much longer? That's the question. I don't know. I really don't. And another game where I wonder if the veto was where they failed, because Prosto do not look great on Dust 2. But the thing is that AVANGAR look amazing on Dust 2. So it's really hard to say. Maybe Prosto look like pros versus other teams, but right now AVANGAR look very smart. So how about we just let them speak for themselves? We'll jump right back into the game with the second half, folks. It is now AVANGAR on the CT side. If Prosto rob a pistol, then momentum may be theirs. And we could see something. A little something. Potentially. Mirroring this start for AVANGAR in the first half, the players of Prosto decide to jump out of long, but it doesn't look like there's a split just yet. In fact, AVANGAR have the fallback information. Fitch is here in a very comfortable position. No one's in lower just yet, and he will almost certainly know if anybody's going to come up Cat, but that's a well-placed Molotov. He can't get information, and Avon's also got a kill. Ooh, and Yakinder takes the high road, just using the ledge to offset the crosshair, not at headshot level, so Fitch unprepared. Krizen still committed to the cubby of Carr. There is where he's dropped Ivan, but Def holds this trigger. Buster's still able to trade straight away, so 2 versus 3 to the favor of Prosto with all of their members on the bomb site. This puts things in question in terms of an afterplant. Krizen pops another noggin, and it falls onto Buster. He clutched the first pistol. Can he do it again? It was a 1v2, and history tends to repeat itself. But Kenzor's head now pops up over the box, and it's with him and Yakinder that they'll steal away the round. So yes, Prosto have more in the tank.
Definitely do. Yeah, that was nice. That was a nice 2v1. They did a good job of dealing with the amount of information that AVANGAR had, which was, I think, the most salient point, because that was a situation where Long Control was given up so quickly. AVANGAR had to make sure that they had their bases covered, at least on Cat. And Fitch was, and it's not like they had some overzealous triple Cat setup where they're stacking A little bit too heavily. No, they only had Fitch there, and he had a generous amount of information. So they made the most of it with just a one person in a good position. And even with that, Prosto had good answers. It was very nice. Smoke and Molotov to deny him any information on lower and then top mid, and also ended up dealing with him quite well with the push. So I think read the setup quite well and have now put themselves in a power position. A couple SMGs for them. And it's a B stack for AVANGAR. As Prosto seem to make their way to the other side of the map. It's going to be 3 on Cat, 1 lower. And it looks like Flourish is actually just going to be a second pair of eyes from top mid, as they will most certainly go for the Cat plant.
Yeah, this round is theirs. All theirs. And it's cost effective at the moment. You know, that's what happens when you gamble. Sometimes you lose. That's what AVANGAR have experienced here today. A lesson's been learned early on the CT side.
When I gamble in real life, I lose a lot.
I know, I gamble with you.
I lose it fast. Like, it's a lot and it's quickly. But when I opened cases...
You have good case luck, that's very true.
I've opened more knives, I feel like, than anybody on the planet. And I never record it. I don't make videos. I don't make case opening videos. I think I've opened... I don't even do case openings. I just once in a while open a case and get a knife.
I was there when you got your Eclipse gloves.
I got gloves. I just opened one. I opened one glove case and got gloves. They were $500 gloves. So that allows me to fund my real life gambling.
Right, which doesn't go nearly as well. So AVANGAR should not learn from you, Launders.
Yeah.
But here's the payoff, right, is they didn't gamble heavy and hard because they invested nothing into that round.
Right.
So it's a solid buy here in the third for them.
And they don't give up any of the kills. They don't don't throw them free money, which is cool. Krizen's got the silenced M4. Not a weapon I'm comfortable using anymore. And Avon kind of mellifluously tapping to the beat of his own drum at mid.
What does mellifluously mean?
Mellifluously? It means it's something that it sounds rhythmic.
But might not be? Intentional?
And melodious.
Okay.
Just something that sounds nice. If it's mellifluous, it sounds nice.
All right.
I think it's normally used for when somebody sounds nice, like they sound mellifluous. But I decided to apply it to Ivan's gunfire.
I appreciate the lesson.
As a kind of personification of his weapon.
Okay. Little commodity fetishism. Here comes the hit. It's a big one. Right into the B site. The MP5 leads the charge. Yakinder turned away. There's a car player in prison who's yet to reveal himself, and why would he? Kickert, with a trio of frags, just locks it down entirely, and Def's MAC-10 will do nothing. So you'd think. Little damage versus Fitch, but that is near flawless. Good on Kickert, locking it down with such a clean multi-frag.
Stark contrast to the first half. One of the problems that Prosto had was not being in the right place, wrong place at the right time.
Restart.
One of the problems that Prosto had was not that their setups were bad, right? They had 2 players in B at times, They just got destroyed with 2 players in B.
Right.
Now here's what you're supposed to do, right? I guess you're supposed to have a player who's maybe a little bit more comfortable with a good weapon in the site with support, and then he multi-frags. And that's the only difference between that round and one from the first half, where all the information was there for both teams. It was just good entries versus good holds. Thank you for rewinding for me.
You're welcome. Everyone deserves a second chance. Flash is over, meticulously clearing out the catwalk, not wanting to get caught off by an aggressive AVANGAR. But they seem happy to hold. James Opp currently honed in on long. Smoke grenades could draw his attention over. But here you have it. He's going to be bombarded by smokes. A wall of smoke on long, completely giving Prosto control of this position.
This is perfect, you know? They've just got they can stick and move here. They've got cat control. They've got 1 out mid. They've got so much to play with. But will they hit their shots?
However, that wall of smoke actually creates a window of opportunity for AVANGAR to fixate more so on catwalk, because while those smokes are up, you know Prosto's not running through it. And while those smokes have faded, they've lost everybody else. So the remaining players from Prosto come out long after the fact into the 1 versus 5. Flaria is down.
You made a really good point.
Yeah.
They had time to work on that kill. The problem is the kill shouldn't have been there. If they had no one peeking on Cat from that, just holding that wall just for a second, and as you mentioned, having to wait that extra few seconds for the smokes to go up is probably what bit them in the back. But AVANGAR were in the middle of Elbow and Cat. That's not where you want to be as a CT. The problem was that they had the duel as far exactly at the farthest point they were willing to push. And if there had not been that kill, well, then they would have had to frantically push up Cat after the long players had come. But instead, he died early. Ivan missing a jump onto Xbox. A little bit easier than it used to be.
Collateral shot for James as well. Kenzor takes the damage. Bodies stacking up. And this one's looking smooth as butter for AVANGAR.
Yeah, their nipples are fully saturated at the moment.
It is cold here in Katowice.
And no reason to move. AVANGAR, 3-2. It's a very valid setup, no matter how many players are left alive for the offense, and even more so reason to use it when the other team is low on numbers. Leave mid open, why not?
Fitch will be good for 1 at least, you'd think. Yakindar just blasts him through the box. James' second collateral shot of the round. Why not? He manages to find himself a 4K on the anti-eco, just dispatching of Prosto one after another, or sometimes 2 at the same time.
Yeah, the twofers.
So 15-5, 20 rounds deep, and a 10-point advantage here to AVANGAR. This is a lot of map points for them to play with. I'm sure that the confidence is boiling over at this point. Let's see if Prosto have anything left in them.
AVANGAR going to go for the very risky, but sometimes fun to do CT peek with the op. And the smoke lands in an interesting position where James is kind of out in the open, but it is an off angle, and he can react. He's got a wide enough door frame here. However, the flash is good, the B-hops are better, and James gets out of danger. However, 2 players cross, the upper B push has had, and the bomb was alone.
That's perfect. We talked about the potential for those B pushes, and look at this. Perfect example for it. Bomb thrown out into the open. Buster can just lock this down now. He's anticipating the peek from Yakinder, who at 10 HP had no chance in hell. But Ivan and Flarek are still in this one. Flarek's going to serve as an anchor here in mid. It falls on Ivan. Inside of the smoke, he sees the shadow, but then as quickly as he spots it, it all comes to a close. Matchup that just does not favor Prosto. AVANGAR looking hot and heavy straight out the gates here. We talked about them maybe being the favorites of the CIS Minor, seeing as they are ranked the highest. And, well, they've given us a reason why.
It's a good bit of evidence to build their case file for sure.
Yeah, most certainly so. So they will be moving on to the winners best of 3 versus Simon Gaming. I don't think that's the opponent they would have expected.
But this is the one I want to see, because now I get to see, well, with the last match that we saw, how good are Simon actually?
True.
Comparatively, because Gambit did not look that great on Train, and AVANGAR at least look amazing.
Right, and also I want to see more from Simon in terms of a map pool, right?
Yeah.
We said that, you know, statistically that's their most played map, so it should be home turf for them, and it even did still come down to the wire, despite having a very strong start. So there's a lot of questions surrounding Simon. There's a lot of questions surrounding this entire event, because, folks, it's day 1 of 5. There's still so many games to play.
Yeah, tons of matches left over.
So many indeed. So here on the B stream, we've got 1 match left of the day. It's going to be, again, as we said, that best of 3 winners. And we will be moving, myself and Launders, over to the main stream for some more Counter-Strike action. There's European games coming later today, and that's when we'll see you guys next. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.